Today I have great news for you because today we're going to add another color, and the color is blue. And by adding only one color, you will expand your options so dramatically that it might be the only color that we will use for a long time. Because with yellow ochre, layering it with blue, for example, you can create green. And a burnt sienna, layering it with blue, you create a purplish tone. In psychology, all the colors have their own meaning, and that might all be true, but we're not in psychology here. Blue for art has a specific meaning. In psychology, it means trustworthy, cleanliness, calmness. All of these things come into play. In art, it means cool. Blue is a cool color. When all the other colors have a slightly undertone of blue, it's the cool version of that color. There's, for example, a cool red, and it means it's a slightly blue. Synthetically, there's many different blues. There's cobalt blue, there's Prussian blue, phthalo blue, indigo blue, you name it. Probably many, many more. In my oil paint box, I only have ultramarine as a blue because I know how to make all the other colors, or at least coming close to it. It's not that I don't trust the manufacturers, but I also don't know what they add to it to come up with that color, specific color. And when it's not pure and I start mixing it, the other colors might become muddy. So the purer you use your colors from the start, the better, the more brilliant the end result will be. Now, ultramarine might not be in your color box. I could not find it in mine. I used a color that was very close to it because I know the color ultramarine. The color that they said light ultramarine is a little bit too light for me, but I do not have the original ultramarine. So look at the blue that you have. Pick one, and then we go from there. Ultramarine comes from the Latin ultra, and a marine is mare, is sea, ultra sea, beyond the sea, meaning far away. And it happens that when the pigment makers in Italy were looking for pigments to make paints, they had to go all the way to Afghanistan to find lapis lazuli. And by finding that and grinding it, they came up with ultramarine. I have no idea how they found it in the mountains of Afghanistan, because it's such a difficult country to even travel, and those days were even more difficult to travel, but they found it. And it was because it was so hard to find and it was so precious, it was more expensive than gold. So it was used sparingly, but from then on you can see that the paintings have ultramarine in it. And ultramarine is slightly purplish. It has a slightly warm, rich, very rich tone into it. Now these days are different with colors, but we are going to add the blue to our composition. So pick a scene that has sky in it, because the sky is blue. Water is blue. If you have some water in it, please use that. And I can tell you already now, everything that's close to the horizon has blue in it. For example, if you have a house with a red roof far away, close to the horizon, that roof will be low chroma but also will be slightly purplish. So add blue to everything that is far away. With blue, we are going to add depth to our composition. And if you don't see it, just trust me right now that I know it and I experienced it, and I am now sensitive enough to all the colors that I can detect it. It took me years before I saw that the trees close to the horizon were blue. Now, when you walk on a misty morning, you might see that also all the objects that are far away are low in contrast. That's a little bit the idea. So add a little bit of blue to it and white, blue and white. So it's very low in contrast, it's bluish, and you create depth with that. So get an object that is close by. You might even want to put it in front of the window. Do the same thing as the last exercise, but now add blue to the shadows and blue to the whole picture far away. Blue and low contrast. And before we are going to do that, let's make a color chart. And with this chart, we see what the options are, how much you can expand to that. Have fun with it. This is going to be great. So here are my colors. Yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, raw umber. I think I have one more, but I'm not really sure. Again, these are not really the names that the manufacturer gave, but I approximated it. And so you need to do that too. The idea is that we just figure out what these colors can really do for us without having the whole range of 200 colors that are available for us. We can make a lot ourselves. And by learning to layer them, we learn to control the colors. I would say try to follow it as much as you can. Your results will be different, but you will know which color comes out which pencil. You can even make a little note. Very often they have a number attached or a name so that you can always find it back. If you buy them one by one, it's even better to do that, because then there's no sequence in the color box themselves. Before I start, I'm going to sort the colors exactly, and I'm going to put away the whole color box. I won't have anything else than those 4, or what did I say, 5 colors maybe, and my pencil. Then, and an eraser, of course, sharpener. Then I'm going to look at my scene. This is my scene. Looking out of the window, there are chairs, there's trees far away, there's a house far away. Now I'm going to, with pencil it in. If I need to make an adjustment, then I still need to erase it. Take your time to do this, because this is pretty permanent. But you will also see with this drawing how your personality is going to make something unique out of it. The photograph is really not the same. The photograph eventually is flat, and now you can choose. You're the master of how it's going to look, and the more control you have over what you're doing, the more you will be satisfied with your product. Don't look at other people's. My drawings will always be completely different than yours. Remember that. What else can I say? I think I'm going to add some music, and you just see what the difference is in building all the layers. If you have questions, let's talk about it. Keep it very light in the beginning, because like the sky is very light far away. It's not like overhead that it has a bright, bright color. The shadow part of my composition is also blue. It is real easy to see, and shadows mostly are blue. Remember that. The closer you get, like the flowers, they have a more warmer tone. Even in the shadow part of the flowers, you can add a little bit brown to it to warmen it up. This is yellow because the sun is lighting up that whole area. It's very subtle, and I'll leave it at that because I'm focusing really on the flowers and on the direct, immediate background, because I don't want to detail too much in order to create depth. So watch it, and we'll talk about it later. The beauty of all of this is that you can see here that you're completely in control of how you see it fit and how you see what you see. Like I do the leaves very bright or dark, bright actually, a lot of pressure on the pencil, but I leave the background fairly soft. It might be darker, but it doesn't have that much pressure on the pencil. And this is how I can create a difference between the background and the foreground. I also leave a little bit of white because there's reflection of the sun on the leaf, and I want to keep that white so it stands out. Then I can make it fairly dark, but I'm not going to put as much pressure on the whole thing as the leaves or the stems, so they will always stand out. Now, even though the leaves are white, because of the strong light that's in the background, I will put a lot of shadow, dark shadow in it. And not as much here, but there is a difference between the background and the leaf that is in front. Squint if you don't really think that you cannot really see what you're seeing, you're not really trusting your eyes, walk away, squint. Always ask yourself, what is darker, what is lighter? Is the background lighter? Is my object lighter? Don't think, oh, because the leaves are white, so everything should be white, because that's just not true. But is it lighter? Is the contrast higher in the front than in the back? Yes. So they both can be white, but there's a shadow part that will stand out so much that you will have a feeling that, okay, I see these leaves are white and the background has a different color. This is all a path to mastery. It will take years before you really can master it. But I hope you have fun doing it as well. If you don't have fun, if you don't like the colors, the color pencils, if you want to use something else, learn that, but use the same principles as what I'm telling you here, with the lighter parts, the darker parts, the high contrast, the low contrast, the high chroma, the low chroma, and keep these principles in your mind for the rest of your life, because that will help you make a drawing that's not only believable, but has your personal discovery in it, basically. That's what it is. I'm curious to see what you came up with, and I'll leave it at this for right now. Enjoy to watch it, and talk to you later.